I'm Anupama Chopra. I'm in conversation with Priyanka Chopra, and we're not related.
Though a lot of people think that we are.
I was asked on Twitter if I'm your and Uday Chopra's mom.
So Uday and I are also related, and you're our birth mother.
So just officially for the record, we're not related. Priyanka has recently signed a talent holding deal with ABC, which is the American network that does Scandal and Modern Family, which means that you're going to be on mainstream primetime American television.
Well, talent holding, yes, I guess that's what it means. But mostly, I get a chance to go out there for about 2-3 months, spend my time with the best writers, directors,
and develop something.
And develop something which is tailor-made for me. And if I like it, I do it. If I don't like it, no worries. That's what the beauty of the whole deal is. And ABC to me is one of the best networks. I mean, it took about a year for us to finally lock it down, but I'm really excited about the opportunity. I think it'll be a evolution for me as an actor.
So Priyanka, I thought this is the perfect time to pick 5 roles from your 38 films over 11 years.
Is it 38?
It's 38.
So I'm almost 40.
Yeah, you're almost there, 11 years. And pick out the 5 ones that I think have really shaped your career and get you to talk about creating those roles and those characters. The first role that I think was really sort of the turning point in a way was Mrs. Sonia Roy in Aitraz. I don't know how much you remember of the film, but I went back to it, and it's actually sort of deliciously wicked, your character. And early on in the film, she's, Mrs. being the key word, she's of course married, and she's telling this guy who, she's a sexual predator, she's coming on to this guy who used to be her boyfriend, and she's the now CEO of the company, and she announces his promotion. And when he says thank you, she says, let me quote back. मुझे उम्मीद है कि जो परफॉर्मेंस तुम्हारी पहले थी वो फ्यूचर में भी रहेगी और तुम मुझे और इस कंपनी को उसी तरह सैटिस्फाई करोगे. It is outstanding.
Hey, who wrote these lines?
Now, let's look at a scene from this movie.
Oh my God.
The highlight.
Oh God, of all scenes.
Highlight, come on.
I can't.
Show me your animal. Show me your animal. I love you.
Please, she's saying I love you.
So much.
Does that help?
Show me your animal.
Yeah, that was a highlight scene.
Okay, and she got the pendant.
And of course he has to see the pendant in a reflection, because otherwise a man's morality will never stand up till he sees it shoved in his face. Of course.
How did you become this woman?
Before this scene, I remember we were supposed to shoot the day we were supposed to shoot. I didn't, because I was just like, I can't do it in front of so many people. I don't know what I'm doing, and I was crying. And I remember this was a glass house in South Africa, where they had a basement, and Abbas Mastan took me downstairs with Akshay, with I think one of the ADs, and about 4 or 5 of us sat down, and they sat me, and I was howling in this white dress, and I was like, I don't know how to say it. I don't understand what would be the right way of saying it without looking like I am a sexual predator. So that's when Abbas Mastan said to me, but that's who you're playing. And it clicked in my head that that's true. That's the part I chose. So I just have to be honest to the part I have chosen. And since then, everything that I've played, I've been unapologetic about it, because it doesn't make me who I am, according to me. And Aitraz really changed that. What you're playing should not, ideally, be a reflection on who you are as a person.
But it probably also helped you for the next role I'm going to bring up, which is Meghna Mathur in fashion.
Right.
Because again, what I saw in that film was a person who's not afraid to be ugly, literally and figuratively, which many Hindi film heroines are not.
Yeah.
Just watch this scene. Here's my favorite one.
Mrs. Sareen. So how are you now? TV pe dekha tha. All that tamasha. What happened? You looked so stressed out.
तुमने इन्हें बताया नहीं? Actually, I wasn't well. मैं एक क्लिनिक में थी. I had an abortion. अभी आपको डिटेल्स दे देंगे. आखिर बिल तो इन्होंने ही भरा है ना?
That is a killer look. The आखिर बिल तो इन्हीं ने भरा है ना. Amazing.
God, I never watch my work back.
Not at all.
Like, not at all. I see it the day of the trial. I'm not deliberately, I just never come across it. And I've also deliberately, maybe I change the channel if I see it on TV. I can't see myself back.
But what goes through your mind when you see yourself doing that? That's pretty good, damn good scene, I thought.
So many undercurrents.
Yeah, and look at that look.
Humiliation and overcompensation of that humiliation by putting the man in his place. Amazing. I wish more women had courage like that. I sure wish I did. But I guess it's really like, and it happens to me, it's a metamorphosis sort of, which happens to me with every character. You sit down for a second and you read your lines and you see each scene can be said in so many different ways. And I just sit and think, there's never an isolated emotion, right? Like in this scene, I remember Madhur wanted Arbaz to be extremely humiliated and feel really small for what he had done, not just to me, but to his wife as well. So how do I give him that? Every scene has an end result for the film. What is the contribution of this scene for the film? Is scene mein the story has to go forward saying that. So we are, as actors, have to contribute to that. I could have still done this hurt. I could have still turned around and said, "Bil to inhone bhara hai."
Right.
And it would have changed.
It would have changed.
It would have changed.
Then
him.
you're
He would have
slightly
felt
weaker,
guilty.
yeah.
He would have been guilty. I didn't want him to feel guilty. I wanted him to feel small. So anything, you can change each line will change the emotion on my co-actor's face. And that's the fun of acting.
Which brings us to the next one, which is Home Science ki topper room hai. Sweetie in Kamine. I loved her too. I mean, 8 scenes in that entire film.
Yeah, you can count them.
8 scenes, which tells us that you don't need footage for impact.
Mr. Bachchan had said that once in one of my first few interviews I had read of his in Filmfare or some magazine, where he said it's not the quantity of what you do, it's the quality of what you do. Even if you have one scene in a film, you have make sure you make such an impact that people can't forget you. Not that they shouldn't remember anybody else, because that's not what an actor is.
Yeah, you're not upstaging each other, yeah.
But they have to just say, यार उसने क्या किया? बस वो करो, आपको मतलब पूरे फिल्म की ज़रूरत ही नहीं पड़ेगी. And that really stuck with me. Sweetie was that.
Please, let's watch. This is my favorite scene from
And
the
I
film.
agreed to work with Vishal Bharadwaj, I have to say. It's a very funny story, how I did this film.
कामासूत्र का पूरा पैकेट था मतलब
छोड़ो ना,
स्पेशल ओकेजन के लिए खुद लिया था
मैं होम साइंस की टॉपर हूँ.
होम साइंस मतलब
One of the first scenes we shot.
मतलब आज कोई खतरा नहीं है.
And of course, she gets pregnant.
But that was the beautiful irony of it, where she says, "मैं home science की topper हूँ." Cut to, what do I do? I love Vishal's humor. His humor is so, it's just so straight-faced. You don't understand, and especially in this film, it's hilarious. But this film, Vishal sir, I was shooting for Dostana, and he flew down to Miami to narrate this film to me because he said, "You have to do it, only you can do it, you have to do it." He told me the story of the film, and I said, "You know what?" He says, "देखो लड़कों की film है, एक लड़की है, most pivotal part of especially Guddu's story because it was Guddu and Charlie." So I said, "कोई बात नहीं sir, it is 1/4 of the film." But I was just damn greedy to work with him. I said, an amazing director is like wearing couture.
You know the difference.
Oh, you know the difference. You know the fit, you know how it'll fall. You know that the outfit, no matter what, will be incredible because the finish and the fitting and the stitching and the fabric will all be the best. There'll be no compromise. So a good director is like that for an actor. And there are few of them. Not too many. So I was just like, whatever you say, all good. And I
What
had
was his
so much
direction
fun.
to you?
Actually, Vishal sir would be just, he used to chodo me. He said, "Ye line hai, just work on your Marathis." And that's all I did. And then he would just read it and say, "Chhoot jao." What would you, within this environment, PC, the idea of this scene, like the scene that you just played me, the idea of this scene is that they're so convinced कि हमारा तो कुछ होगा ही नहीं. There's no chance. And they are kids who are in love. And they're just completely unaware of the repercussions. They just think about the moment and they are horny, whatever. Idea is they need to make a baby at the end of it. So please make it look like you have to make a baby. Those were the lines. And Sweetie is the one who's always convinced. She's the one who makes him do everything. Would do the little bichara type. I got it. And there's another scene in this film, which is that rape. Maine rape kiya tumhara after this, which is again another one of my favorites. But it was just chutoing. And he allows me to chuto.
But it's also one of the first few films where you're totally de-glam.
Yeah, no makeup.
No makeup and very sort of, regular clothes. Is that frightening for an actress?
Me? Oh, not at all. Please. I am so glamorous that taking makeup off me is not going to make me de-glam.
I'm just so stunning.
I'm just kidding. No, I feel like people misconstrue being an actor with being a star. And you can be both.
You are both.
I've always wanted to work on being both. But being a star is being glamorous and beautiful and well turned out all the time. But when you come in front of the camera between action and cut, you're not Priyanka Chopra. And to convince you that I was Sweetie Bhope or that I was Meghna Mathur or I was Sonia Roy, you as an intelligent audience who's aware of the entire world and media from around the world, I have to forget I'm not Priyanka Chopra.
Well, the other one where you're completely without glamour is, of course, Jill Mill in Barfi, which is just lovely. This is my favorite scene.
Oh, this scene makes me on.
Isn't it? Did that hand just happen or were you directed to do that?
No, that just happened. See, when Anurag came to me with the film, first though he came into my house and I'd come from an event. When he came to narrate the film to me and I was dressed a la
Full on.
Full on. I was like full, like glamorous. And I walked in and he was sitting there and I was like, I'm really sorry. And he was like, Nani. And I was like, what will you eat? Do you want something to drink? And he was like, I don't know, ye hoga ki nahi yaar, PC yaar. I think I'll go. I said, you've come to narrate a film to me and you're saying you'll go. He's like, I think I made a mistake. I said, you've made a mistake.
One look at you and he was out of there.
He said, no, I think I should cast a real autistic girl only because this was a stupid idea. How could I expect Priyanka Chopra to do this? But look at you. He has said this to me. And I said, sit down. 1 minute, just sit down. So I sat down. I said, just narrate it to me. He gave me the most like half-hearted narration going from here, there, everywhere. So I said, you really don't want me to do this film? He said, PC, it's not going to work out. I mean, I've told you what Jill Mill is and I need somebody who's so innocent, who's so believable. And I said, I don't know if I can do it, but let's take 5 days, you and me, hang out at your office, sit down and do workshop. Let's see if we can. I also don't think I can pull it off. I mean, there's such a big image and I had just come out of like The Dawn and Krish and Fashion and all these like glam movies. And so we did a 4-day workshop. I spent huge amount of times with autistic children. I did a lot of research, reading, and 5 days of literally living at his office and seeing, understanding what autism. And there's such a range of autism.
Right. How did you decide what
Exactly.
her
There's
would
such
be?
a range. It's either very severe or very mild, or you can't tell. Anyone can be different. Asperger's is different. So, and we had no reference for Jill Mill. So what we did was we decided, first we decided pajamas because, autistic people don't know how to keep their, girls especially, kaise pair wear, kaise rakhenge, there's no awareness of that. They're like kids. Then we said, no, it's not sweet enough. Then we gave a skirt, but then I won't be able to move my legs around. So then we gave bloomers. Like this, we just built Jill Mill up. We did nothing except change her hair, which was my hairstylist's nightmare because she was the only one working on this film. Everybody else had nothing to do. She had to sit and paint those ringlets, the Shirley Temple ringlets after every shot. Her nightmare. But besides that, we had nothing else to do. And Jill Mill's part, Ileana's part was all written because she's the only one who had lines in the film. When mine and Barfi's, were not written at all. It was Jilmil Barfi meet on the railway track. Jilmil follows Barfi into the room. Now he used to get on the set and he used to say, okay, what can we do here now? Let's see.
So you just created.
It was improv completely. Here, you know that thing where we touch each other's noses? So the idea was, Barfi and Jilmil have found each other. Normally, in a normal relationship, people would kiss. What do we do when we don't kiss? So then it was something I had said, there has to be some physical proximity. Autistic people don't like physical proximity. The fact that she's allowing him so close
Right,
to
because through the film
kiss.
she keeps moving back every time he tries to touch her.
They don't like anybody coming. But the fact that they do that is a kiss. And then she says, I finally have him. I don't want to ever let him go. So we talked about how that would happen. Would she pull him back? Would she push her away? We talked about all that, and it just sort of came. I said, let's try a few different things, and we tried one of them was this, and Anurag was like, yep, done, pack up, okay, over, pack up. But it was just all improv. It is bizarre to me how Barfi got made. It was just, I don't even know.
And the lip biting, how did that happen?
It just came, it started coming out of what would you do if you want to stay in a closet? How would you move away? You know, it's difficult to look. Your hands pulling on the clothes. You know, just awkward. Awkwardness ko physically kaise dikhaun?
Just retreating from the world.
Yeah. And I wanted to show the awkwardness of her physically. So a lot of it had to do with blinking and not making, which is anyway something that autistic people do very often. But it was just all their traits put together and suddenly, I mean, we reshot the first 2 days, both me and Barfi. But after that, it was just flying. We used to do like 2 scenes a day because we just knew what we were doing.
You were in the groove.
You just knew.
How long did it take you to get in the groove for Mary Kom?
About a year.
A year?
Yeah, about a year. And I had shot all my fights by then. The training was physically exhausting, but understanding her and who she was and what all she really went through. First of all, it's a culture we don't understand, a state we don't understand, as Indians also. I mean, people ask me still, Manipur is part of India. When I went there for the first time, which was after I shot my fights and everything, and I was blown away. I was like, I can't do these scenes until I know this girl. I spent about 3 days in her house with her family, with her kids, opening her drawers, going to her parents' house, going to her first school, going to her church, just understanding what her environment,
soaking it in,
what she thinks, who she is, talking to her. And Mary's accent is like really hard to understand, Hindi and English. It's very difficult. So it was again a choice that we made because we're making a Hindi film. We said we'll just do snippets of an accent, you know.
Here's my favorite scene.
हराना चाहता मेरे को सबने देखा यहाँ पे मैंने उसको ज्यादा पंच मारा मैं मणिपुरी है इसलिए मेरे साथ पार्शियलिटी करता तुम लोग
देखो हमारा डिसीजन फाइनल है रूल्स और काउंट बैक के हिसाब से प्रीति इस मैच की विनर है
आई एम इंडियन इंडिया मेरे हार्ट में है समझा थ्री टाइम वर्ल्ड चैंपियन 3 टाइम एक बच्चे से हारेगा
Where did this rage come from? What did you tap into?
Check out, Google it, Mary Kom fight with judges. This is a real incident.
No, where did you bring this rage?
This was the second day, I remember. I sat down on the set and I said, Umang, because it was all one shot, one Steadicam shot which comes all the way, all this is one shot. And the first take. The second take was horrible.
This is the first take?
We said we'll do another take for safety, but I was like, it's gone, done, over, expended. But I just sat and prepped, and I don't know what I just wanted to be as angry as her. Just see that video of hers. How angry she was. She picked up a damn chair and threw it at the judges. And I just wanted to capture that. So I saw that video a bunch of times the night before. And a lot of the lines are the same. I'm an Indian, India mera dil mein hai. All those are exactly what she said. And except ours was outdoors, theirs was indoors, all that little changes. But I don't know, when you act, I guess you forget for that moment between action and cut, what you are feeling or what you're dealing with, or if you're hot or if you're cold, or if someone's watching, or if it's so pure, it's almost spiritual, that when I'm saying these lines, what would happen? My skin crawls, my hair at the back of my neck would stand up. I was so angry. Why am I so angry? Because they're racist, because they're telling me I'm not good enough. I've given my best performance after. You start living that life. It took me a while to get out of it. I had to sit down after the shot. I just sat down, Umang, everybody came, and I was just crying. At least for 4 or 5 minutes. And then Vanita, Umang's wife, just held me. And I said, I'm good. I'm okay. And I was mortified, very embarrassed. But I couldn't cut off, and I went to my van. My hands were shaking. I had to take because you literally live somehow, and that's, I think, one of the greatest qualities of actors. If we tap into that, I think people think acting, especially now, the term is so bastardized. I didn't know it myself. I learned it over the span of 30 whatever films I've done. First 10 films, Etras, I had no idea what I was doing. But by now, I've started understanding what happens between action and cut. It's magic. If you go there, if you allow yourself to look horrible, not care where your hair goes, not care where your hand goes, not think. When you're angry or you're having a fight with your boyfriend or your mother, you scream and shout without thinking all of those things. So during action and cut, that's what has to happen. And if you can reach that, it's spirituality.
More power to you, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Don't forget to subscribe to Film Companion for reviews, interviews, and your weekly film fix. Please also send me your feedback. Your comments are very important. They help me to do my job better.